Hello people, Neil here, yet another video. Today let's look at free play or free movement. There are thousands, if not endless, ways of moving freely with your body. You have a body and you can do whatever you want, right? But for some people it's not too easy to simply move freely in an open space like this one. So let's look at one way of doing exactly that. Now there is different disciplines and different forms in dance and many other different movement forms that kind of teach you how to move freely with your body. And like everyone else, I do have my own preferences and my own style. So today let's look at one way of doing exactly that, finding free movement in an empty space using just your body, gravity and an open space. Now today we will use 4 different containers and find in each of these containers one technique that we then can apply to this idea of free movement. One of these containers is pivoting, so spinning on your feet. One of these containers is acrobatics, on your arms, supporting acrobatics. Another container is rolls, and the last container for today is floor moves, moving very low on the floor. Now in each of these containers we can find endless moves, techniques, patterns, ideas, concepts, variations, but today let's just take a look at one technique in each of these categories. Also to make a point that you do not need much in order to find free movement with your body. It's a great joy, it's a great pleasure, it's a lot of fun. So directly let's start with the pivots. Alrighty, for the pivots we do a little preparation. So you will find yourself standing on both of your feet, a little bit of space in between your legs. You can experiment what feels nice for you, so you can already have a nice shift of weight. Now on top of the shift of weight, we want to find a spiral in the body, right? And for now we use an outside spiral. That means if I shift my weight to the left, I also open up to the left and vice versa. Now in this motion, ultimately you want to also include your head. I will just keep it towards you so you can hear what I'm saying. Your arms are relatively empty and you find a lot of length in your posture. So there is not too much waving going on, and although that's super nice and soothing, right now this is not what we're looking for. Very clear spiral from one side to the other. And you can simply prepare yourself doing so for about a minute or so. Now from this basic spiraling idea we can already find an entry into a very nice and easy pivot, and I call this one the forwards pivot. So it's kind of like we coil and uncoil ourselves using the standing spiral, and then when I now go from the right side to the left, there is a push into the floor with my right leg, there is a pull with my upper body towards the left, and both of this combined, push and pull, will result in a nice little turn. And this is what we are going to be practicing for now. We will coil and uncoil ourselves until we can find a moment of release. Now, if you go deeper into pivoting and spiraling and spinning, there's a lot to be learned. But for now, let's keep it super simple and try to find this nice coiling and this nice pushing with the feet. And then for the pivoting, you can see how this then translates into movement. It could, for example, be something like this. It could also be something like this. It could be something where you use your leg to kick around. This is not so important for now. Just find this idea of switching towards one side, releasing and finding a pivot. Let's directly use this idea in a little bit more open context. So instead of standing on your legs and just going from one side to the other, you can already take a walk through the space. And sometimes when you feel the notion, you coil, uncoil, and you will continue with a nice little spiral. The analogy that I like to use is, imagine the ground that you're on is a piece of paper and you're a pen, and you want to draw squiggly lines, curves, circles, figures of 8s through the space. So right now your body is a pen and you use this coiling and pushing to find nice changes of direction.
Whoa, people, hello. Well, if you're interested in this way of moving and you want to learn more, you definitely can. I have 3 Finding Flow online programs. One of them for beginners, Finding Flow Basics. One for intermediate, Finding Flow Integrations. And then the big Acrobatics lab, filled with video breakdowns, ideas for weeks and months of study. And with the code YouTube10, you will even get 10% discount. So check it out and find your flow.
Alrighty, let's look at the second container, which is acrobatics on our hands. I call them supporting acrobatics, right? Because arms support the body. The movement that we are going to be learned today is something that I teach a lot and very often. I call it the jaguar. It's basically a cartwheel, but instead of going from one leg to the other, we jump from one leg and land on the same leg, and we can take it super low. Now, like before, we can already use this circular coiling mechanism to build momentum for the move. So already here we understand that the movement is happening more on a horizontal plane rather than on a vertical plane, right? In gymnastics, a lot of moves would go here. What we want to find is a little bit more horizontal circular motion. Now from this one, I reach with my arms into the floor. I try to find a lot of length on the side of my body, plant my hands, and now it is literally just a little hop from my right leg onto my right leg, followed by a little spiral that we already did before. It looks like this. And I'm there. Whenever I finish the movement, I make sure that the momentum that I build, I also diminish slowly. For example, through a yet another spiral. Now, if you want to study the jaguar a little bit deeper, you can do endless micro variation. Micro variations, once again, is basically doing the same thing, but with little alterations, a little bit more texture, a little bit more detail here and there. Instead of reaching short, you can go a little bit further. Instead of going very low, you can go a little bit higher. Instead of using both arms, you can just use one. So already with this basic pattern, the jaguar, many different variations appear through practice. Once again, I advise you to again come back to this idea of the pen on the paper, using your body as a pen and using the jaguar idea every once in a while to find nice little, neat little variations. Category number 3, the floor moves. Now this one I call the back transition, and it's kind of like a stem cell to many other moves that happen on the floor. Stem cell, basically from biology, we have a cell that through evolution and through time can transform into many other moves. So a lot of these mechanisms here you can use in other moves as well. But we start super simple. Actually, let's take it directly from a squat. Now from the slow squatting position, I circle my body. See, still the same idea of the circular motions applies here as well. I circle backwards until I can find a support on my arm. From the fingertips onto my hand, and then I allow my knees to follow through. Now from here, one of the most important ideas in this move is how to receive the floor. And it's kind of like a folding of the arm, like a shock absorber. From this motion, my head circles. I tuck my elbow in towards the crease of my hip. My shoulder touches directly next to my hand, and I continue the circle from one side all the way to the other side. And with practice, you would have a very smooth motion. Again, like before, also here you can simply explore freely, moving from standing, walking around, into the floor using now this idea. And the last category, the rolls. Now let's take a very simplistic approach to rolling, something that you can also learn on a little bit more hard floor. So from the starting position, we like to be kind of like in a lunge position, right? If you dare to go a little bit more forcefully, you can do it from standing, but otherwise you can simply take it super low from a little lunge position. Now from here I allow my hands to form a diamond shape. If my right leg is in front, I like to go right arm to the front as well and also roll over the right shoulder. So everything on the right side. I plant my diamond shape. And also here, like before in the floor, I have this folding mechanism down onto my hand, shoulder, and immediately followed by a push with the feet into a little roll. Now for the roll, you can at first make it super slow motion and really try to figure out all of the different stations of your body. Station number 1 is the start. Station number 2, attaching to the floor. Station number 3, guiding yourself down until the shoulder receives the floor. Next station, pushing tall, and then slowly melting into the floor. Now also here, please feel free to use this in already a free manner using the pen analogy. Okay people, we have these 4 categories. We have this idea of the pen drawing all of these nice squiggly lines. Let's try to combine everything. Put on a nice song, 3, 4, 5 minutes, something like this, and simply try, like a researcher, like a scientist, like an artist, to do something. It does not need to be a performance, it needs to be a trial. And later you can try again and try again to combine everything and kind of figure out how you can go from pivots into your acrobatics, from the acrobatics into the floor, from pivots into rolls, and vice versa. And once again, all of these tools, you can also break out of them and alter them on the go. Instead of doing your jaguar, you can also use a cartwheel. Instead of doing your roll, you can use another entry into the floor, so on and so forth. So all of these techniques or tools you can see as stepping stones, as little helpers, as guides on your journey into free movement. I will demo a little bit and then it's your turn to practice. Alright people, that is it for this video. I hope you really enjoyed it and you can really enjoy also free movement with all of these techniques and tools that we worked on right here. Now if you enjoy all of these type of practice, then please make sure to follow. Let me know in the comments if you want to have another video which is maybe similar to this one, breaking down other techniques. And then also check out my online programs. There's currently 3 of them, 2 for beginners, the basic and the integration program, and then there's the acrobatics lab. Deep dive into all things acrobatics, and I really highly encourage you to check it out. Even with the code YouTube10, you can receive 10% discount on your purchase of the acrobatics lab, so definitely you want to check it out. Now I will enjoy this view for a little bit more, practice a little bit more, and I hope you have a nice day. Ciao, ciao.